Welcome back to the IU427 garage, everybody. Well, I tell you, you can't argue with the results. The car is back from Miller's, and we are beginning to put all the pretty stuff back on it. All right, I am going to continue to shower our painter, Jeff Miller, with praise. It just seems as though each time Jeff does a car for us, it's better. This time, not only with the color choices that he helped the owner of the car pick out, but the execution of the paint. It is just amazing. It is just so beautiful what Jeff did. The owner went down with us to Jeff Miller's, spent the day with us getting the car body put back on, the doors fit, the trunk deck lid, the hood, and then he spent the day with us here at our shop the following day putting some of the pretty stuff on the car. So I'm going to go through what we did on the first day, post Jeff Miller, and then what I'm up to right now and what I'm looking forward to getting done in this video. They say that 90% of the work takes 10% of the time, and the last 10% of the work takes 90% of the time. Well, when you're putting one of these cars together, that's the truth. We wanted to be able to get as much of the pretty stuff put on the car that we could while the owner was here. We wanted to have the absolute max outcome for him while I was here. So we worked on getting all of the pretty stuff put on the car. You can see we've got the bumperettes or the overriders mounted on there, but I don't want to put the actual bumper that goes in between them on until I get the nose aluminum finished up and I get the brake duct screen in the brake duct openings. So I'm working on that tonight. We've got the headlights installed. They're working. We've got the turn signals installed and the front marker lights. So those are installed on both sides of the car. The side pipes will actually end up coming back off. If you've watched some of our videos in the past, you'll know that that's one of the last things I do because I tend to use the copper RTV on those rather than the gaskets. We got the tail lights installed. So the tail lights are installed on both sides of the car, and they work. We got the fuel filler, the Le Mans cap, and the fuel filler hose all scored away, so that's done. We have the roll bars in and bolted inside the trunk. This one, since we had the wheel off to get the fuel filler in, we got the bolt on the actual inside hoop that resides here inside the wheel well. So that one's done as well. But we don't have the third or the back bar all bolted up and secured yet. On the other side, it's just that center bolt that's inside the trunk. But we wanted to get those in because, again, it just makes the most impact for the car owner so that he can see it start to take shape and look like a car. What I'm working on tonight is, even though I kind of temporarily held the brake duct screens in place for some pictures on Facebook and social media last night, I wanted to go ahead and get them secured tonight. So you can see, I take those and I cut them to fit, and then I run a bead of clear silicone around the outside, and that's going to secure them in place. If they ever have to come out, it's just a matter of cutting the silicone off and then cutting new mesh for the openings. Now I'll finish those tomorrow because basically I just do half of the mesh at once. So I've got it all around this side tonight, and then this block will move to the other side, and then I'll do the other side tomorrow night. I found that it just doesn't pay to rush and try to get it all done at once, and so we'll get that all squared away. We've got the headlights disconnected now, and the the pigtail for the marker light disconnected just because I wanted to get those wires for all that out of the way while I got the brake duct mesh in place. I also cut a piece of the mesh for the oil cooler opening. It's just resting in there right now, but it'll get the same treatment. It'll get held in place, and we'll put silicone all the way around it. Now, I'm going to sneak by this cord. And you can see on this side, I've got a vice grip clamp holding a steel rod, and that's what's putting pressure right here. So tonight, this side of this brake duct screen is getting affixed with the silicone, and that just holds it in place. Tomorrow night, I'll do the same thing with that side, and then those will be in. And then I'll concentrate on the one down on the bottom. So I'm kind of doing multiple things at once. You can see here that I've got the 3 pieces of aluminum that are going to make up the nose, or sometimes we call it the mouth of the car. So I've got the 2 side pieces, those are right here, and then I've got the bottom piece right here. As soon as all of that mesh that's going in for the brake duct scoops and the oil cooler opening are done, then that will go in. After that's in, then we can work on our front bumper. So that's what I'm going to be working on over the next couple of nights here in the shop. In the back, what I'm working on is the license plate light. Now, what I'm going to do on this, I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to use this as a template to drill my holes. But I'm also going to have a license plate, either one of our IE427 license plates or one of the license plates, the novelty license plates that I have over on the bench. I'm going to use that as my template to make sure that I get as much clearance right here. Oh, you can see me in the car. Damn you, Miller. As much clearance as I can between the top of the latch and the license plate itself, where we're going to mount that onto the car. I want to make sure that we've got enough room so that everything's going to work properly and we don't have to notch either a license plate or a license plate frame, because a lot of these guys, these customers, like to put one of those, Shelby style license plate frames on the outside as well. And so I'd like to give as much room as I can in order to get that done. The other thing that we got done on the car while the owner was still here is we got our struts mounted for our trunk deck lid. And so you can see, or maybe you can't. Let's see if I can grab a light. Ah! Sorry about that. So you can see, no, still can't see. Well, this light sucks. All right, so the other thing that we're going to be working on, probably not tonight, probably tomorrow night, is the rear bumper. And I've got everything laid out here. I've got the actual bumper hoop right here. The overriders are over here, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set those with the bumper, and then I've got all the hardware right there. And because of the way the back of the car is put together, you can't get the bolts in with the gas tank in the way for the lower 2 bolts. So what we're going to do, and what I've done on all the cars that we've put together, is I picked up some 7/16 all thread. I actually picked up more than I needed because I was out. I picked up 2 pieces, 3 feet long, and then we're going to cut those to length, and then we're going to use those with a nylock nut in underneath the car body, and they'll go in from the outside and nut, and then we'll be able to thread them in to the overriders through the bumper. So when I get to that point, maybe I'll kind of describe it a little bit more. But so that's what I'm working on tonight, and then that ought to pretty much get you caught up. The only other issue we ran into, and I'm still waiting, I didn't rush to put the windshield in this time. This carbon fiber dash sucks. Because if you put it in like we normally do the padded dash, the arc of the top of the dash is different, I believe, than the standard padded dash, the one that you cover with the padded material that's supplied from Factory 5. And so even though it's tucked in on either side, we have a gap in the center. And I don't have the light shining right there now, but I'm going to have to raise the dash up. And so in the process of that, I'm probably going to have to raise the steering wheel up about 1/4 of an inch too. And that's still not going to get rid of the entire gap. But when the windshield goes in, it actually helps because it pushes down on the car body in the center. So as the windshield goes in and the body relaxes, that's why I'm kind of waiting, because we've already noticed just in the day or two that it's been here in the shop, Jeff aligned these doors perfectly. But right here, there's already a gap. The door is in farther than the body, and they were set perfect when we were at Jeff's shop. So what's happening is, as the car body is settling down onto the chassis, it pushes this bottom out. It basically bows this part of the body as the body relaxes. So we always have to readjust the doors before we send the car home. But this one, it didn't take more than a couple of hours. By the time we got it home, you know, it was probably, the car ride home, you know, was probably kind of bumpy. And so that probably helped to kind of settle the body onto the chassis. But so we've got the same thing going on over on this side of the car. You can see this all got kind of sucked in. And then at the top here, these don't line up like they did when we left. So as it pushes it out, on that side of the car, it dropped down a little bit. On this side of the car, it pushed out, and then it raised this portion up. So it's all about where it sets down onto the chassis as the fiberglass relaxes. So these are all little adjustments that we'll make over the next probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks that the car is here before it's done. And then before it goes home for the final time, all those gaps will be checked again. The doors will be, you know, fine-tuned. The latches, stuff like that. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to catch up with you tomorrow, where I'll show you what I finished tonight and then what I'm working on tomorrow. See you tomorrow. All right, I wanted to grab the camera while I was cutting the all-thread for the rear bumper. Now, I have the luxury of having the bandsaw. Best tool ever. So what I do is I thread a nut on before I start. Everybody kind of knows this. So you thread a nut onto your all thread. You cut it off. I take it right over to the grinder. I use that nut as a stationary place to hold the all thread down, and then turn the all thread to ease the edge. And then basically you're going to take the nut and make it to where it cleans the threads as it comes off, and then use the nut on your next one. However, I'm going to show you a quick tip to threading the all thread onto the nut, because this end's cut. It's not going to want to thread on, so you're going to have to thread it all the way down this end. And you don't want to cut off that end and then have the same situation there, so you got to thread it all the way down. So let me grab my drill, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. Okay, going to hold on to the nut at the end, put the drill on forward, and just until I'm about 8 inches down, which is where I want to make my cut. And then I'm going to cut the rod and do the same thing. I'm going to grind the edge smooth, take off all the edge burrs, thread the nut off to make sure the threads are clean, and then I'm going to go ahead and get ready to cut the next one. I've got to cut 3 of these, and I'll show you why. Alright, I got the next one all ready to go. You can see I got the nut threaded on there, but out of the way of the blade. I'm cutting these at 8.5 inches from the blade to the end, and that's going to give me enough room that I'm going to be able to put our nylock nut over here on the end and thread it on, and then still have full length on the bolt to match the one bolt that we're able to use. So I'll just go ahead and cut this. then I'm going to take it over and I'm going to put it in the grinder. Do both ends on this one, so after I finish that I'll show you over at the car which three need to be replaced. So here you can see I got two nuts. These are 7/16 nuts. I got them double nutted so they're tightened together so that I can use them to thread a nylock nut from through this opening to get into the back of that piece of wall thread. There's no way you're going to get that bolt in there. And you can't put the body on with the bolts in place. So your only alternative, if you want to use those bolts full length, is you got to drop the gas tank, which is a royal pain in the ass. So you can see, you're going to want to make sure that you have a collection of 5/8 and 11/16 wrenches. So do yourself a favor and grab some stubbies, and we've got the collars in there. You can see the collars in there, and then on the back side there's a washer. And then I'm probably going to stop after I get all these in for tonight because I really want to put stainless washers here, and I just went through my inventory of washers and I have no stainless washers. So this is what it's going to look like. I've got a washer just sitting on there, and the washer just sandwiches everything together as you tighten everything down. But everything has to be tightened from the back side. Next day, I'm going to give you guys a little tip. When you're trying to put a nut on, and you've got it in a nut driver or a socket, and you need that nut to be out at the end of the socket rather than deep inside the well of the socket, what you can do, here I'm going to grab my nut driver. I'll take it over the bench. So take your nut driver and put another nut inside there. So we're going to load up this 1024 nut right there. Put that down inside. Then we're going to take the other one. We're going to put it inside there. It's going to put it closer to the end. Now why I'm trying to do that is when Miller puts the strike in for the latch, the trunk latch, especially if we've got the drop trunk, he can't gain access to that. And I don't want to pre-drill the thing and have it in the wrong spot for him. So I let him drill it, and he just screws this bolt, this machine screw, it's about 4 inches long, into the aluminum, and there's a metal plate in behind there too. So he gets it in there, and it's tight enough so that he can set the throw of the lock on the trunk. And then what I do is I take a hole saw and I drill a hole in there like that, and that'll give me access to the back side of that bolt so I can put a nylock nut on it. And then I'll have a electrical conduit seal. It's a screw-in seal that I put in there, and I actually put one over on this side of the car as well. Let's see if I can get this out of the way. I put one over here where our upper trunk bolt is for the bumper. So that that little electrical seal will seal off one of these, and then I'll do another one over on this side. So since I mentioned the bumpers, and I gave up last night because I needed some stainless steel washers, those stainless steel washers are the ones that go right in here. And so I wanted 4 of those to blend in with the stainless steel that is on the bumpers, or that the bumpers are made out of. And you can see that this turned out really nice. Let me get the light out of here and get the trunk closed. And then you can see just how nice the bumper turned out. So we finished that up tonight. It's getting kind of late. I'm probably going to go in for the evening. I was hoping to get Started on the nose aluminum, but I think I'm going to do that tomorrow night. And I think this video is probably going to start running long if I get into that tomorrow. So I'm going to end it here. I want to thank all of you for watching. We appreciate every view. If you're enjoying the content, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, comment, even if it's about my big fat head. And we'll catch you guys all next time. Have a great day.